Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. This your host, Good Luck Chuck. We back at it for Fader Week. I know they really call it the Raiders, but I call it the Faders, man, because yeah, cause they love the fade because we fading them. You know what I mean? So, before we get to all that, man, I'd like to introduce my guys here, man. Top right hand corner is my guy Boogie. Bottom of the screen is my guy Country, and we'll have our special guest on here in a second. But first off, man, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share all your social media platforms. So fellas, man, it's Raider Week, Monday Night Football under the lights at Arrowhead. How's everybody feeling?
I'm ready, man. Who going to the game, man? I'm ready to get out there and troll some Raider fans and see them before the game and see them after they lose. And they probably be trying to fight and shit, but it's gonna be some good laughs. I'm ready for
it. Hey man, I miss working at Arrowhead when they used to fight, bro. Them fights used to be intense, bro. Hey, that 300 level get crazy.
Yeah, you saw a lot.
That's where I'm at, man. Come to the 300s, man.
You got to be part of the 300 to be in the 300 because it ain't no punks up in the 300 level at all. All sizes, colors, and shapes too. You can't be a punk in the 3. You want to be civil, you take yourself to the club level and the lower level because 300 is the savages. That's the real Chiefs Kingdom. That's the Chiefs Kingdom we make the podcast for, the 300 level.
Yeah.
Because it goes down, boy. I'm ready for the Raiders, though, man. They've been bad, man. So we just can't let them get right against us. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about. Don't let them get right versus us. Y'all get right versus the Broncos or something.
What you thinking, Chuck? How you feeling about it?
That boy froze. But
shit, I thought the Raiders was gonna be a little bit better, especially to start the year. I picked them to finish second in the division.
Honestly, I thought they would be a lot better than they are. They are 1-3.
Yes, the only win is against the Broncos, so really they 0-3.
And then they had the Arizona game where they had the game and lost it at the end, which is
Fader
good
talk.
Teams don't lose like that, man. That's teams Fader don't talk. Lose.
That's why they're the Faders, because of shit like that.
I'm saying that, and we lost to the Colts, but that was different.
I know, right? What Red say? Oh, that was different.
Yeah, that was. What about when he was choking me in Smoke Backyard? Oh, that was different. But no, I'm looking forward. It's always gonna be. We gonna get up for Raider Week. It don't matter how bad they are, how good they are, or vice versa. I think that game is always one of them games that you get up for. You just got to. It's the rival, even though they not really our rival. I was thinking about that earlier this week. Who's our rival right now?
I definitely still think the Raiders. I think the Chargers. I think the Bucs somewhat. The Bengals.
I'm really looking at Buffalo, man, because it feel like we play Buffalo. It feel like we play Buffalo every year now.
But country. I remember me and you having conversations before Josh Allen, before Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs always play Buffalo, and it always be those type of games, even before we got these franchise quarterbacks. So I would say Buffalo.
Always. So, I remember the Sean Smith game where he had that 100-yard interception, pick six or whatever.
Yes, sir.
That was a Buffalo game, and Sammy Watkins had killed us the entire first half. He had like 160.
Hey, random though. Where the fuck is Sean Smith at now? Cornerback Sean Smith.
I've been looking for him, bro. Wherever you at, holla at me, man. I need you on the show. I need Sean Smith.
I know he had gotten into some legal shit, but I think he got that taken care of. But I ain't heard shit.
Yeah, he been ever since then. He disappeared. He's smarter than OJ. That's for.
You stupid as hell.
Yo, if you get into some criminal legal activities and you get out of it, stay out the way, bro. Stay out them people way. Leave it alone. Just enjoy the rest of your life. Stay out the way. Stay off the radar. Stay off the grid. Facts.
Hey, that's sound advice, man. Sound advice, wise
Chuck,
words from country.
Chuck, who do you think is our rival right now?
Man, look, the Chargers have been the only team that's been able to compete with us in the past few years, really. So I guess it's them for the time being. I mean, they keep knocking on the door, but they don't know how to close, man. They still learn how to win. I don't know if they'll
Where
ever
where
get to that point.
where would you put Buffalo at?
As far as rivalry or as far as like just
As far as
overall
a
in the AFC?
rivalry?
I mean,
Every time
they
we play Buffalo is one of them games, bro. And that's pre Mahomes, pre Josh Allen too. Like when we had Joe Montana, it was a game. You know what I'm saying? Like it was one of those games. Like Buffalo is always one of them games. What's up, Chris? Um, uh, Zulu, Zulu with the constrict constructive criticism on every comment. I appreciate
yeah, it's always something. But I know one thing. I gotta get a new computer, man, because the mic and the computer they not linking together, right? So
that old computer and that new mic is just fighting.
yeah, it's too much of a battle, man. But
Hey, I got bad internet, so what's the difference? So the Raiders game, Raiders. Did you overestimate the Raiders?
listen, I had them last in the division anyway before the season began.
Oh, okay.
I had them winning 9 games, but I knew they weren't gonna make the playoffs. I mean, cause like it's a brand new coach. Their trenches got weaker. I know that Chandler Jones got signed there, but he's a shell of himself now. And they in the back end it got worse too. Like Casey Hayward went to the Falcons, and it's just different now. So
I feel like Chandler Jones always starts off fast and then slows down. So when he started slow, I was like, "Yep, that might be it right there." You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we got Dunlap because Dunlap been playing with some fire lately. Actually, he's been he running around like he's 29 years old. You know what I'm saying? He's making moves. He might not be closing in. We might not be getting the sacks, but we definitely getting pressure. We definitely affecting the quarterback. Evidence Tom Brady last week. Tom Brady was not comfortable. I don't care what Skip Bayless say. It wasn't a great Tom Brady game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we chose to do that for what, a fraction of the cost. I think Dunlap has been a asset. I think George is like way ahead of where we thought he should be. Like he's 5 miles ahead of where I thought he was going to be. Like George has been a surprise and a good surprise. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to believe but he's a rookie though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, I ain't gonna put all that pressure on him. And even though he doesn't have sacks, he's clearly affecting the game in a major way.
I feel like every time y'all bring up Chandler Jones, y'all be kind of trying to throw shade because I said he was a good pickup. So every time y'all say that, I kind of feel like y'all throwing a dart at me. I want y'all to know
yeah,
He said throwing darts like we Wu-Tang. Okay, Ghostface. Throwing darts. Chest boxing. No, I think Chandler Jones was a good pickup, but I don't. It's the Raiders, bro. Like they always pick up somebody good, and you go to the Raiders and you not good anymore. Randy Moss went there when he was Randy Moss, and then he wasn't Randy Moss, and he went to the Patriots, and then he became Randy Moss all over again. Like it just only person that went there and succeeded is Rich Gannon.
but my thing is this though, like Chandler Jones, he would have been a good pickup about like 4 years ago, maybe. But
Chandler Jones had a good year last year.
he had that one game, bro. He had that one game against the Titans, and that was it, dog.
Okay, now you throwing darts. You throwing
No,
darts
I'm
for
not
real.
throwing darts, bro. He only had like two
that.
games
But
for the
no.
year, man.
But I will give you that, Chuck. He did have that one game where he had 4 or 5 sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first game.
Yeah, that was the very first game.
Yeah, he definitely slowed down. Definitely slowed down.
Then he took 16 games and had 5 other sacks.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah,
Oh,
but before we continue on with the Raiders, man, our special guest has arrived, man, from the Athletic. Third time on the podcast,
my
covering
favorite.
rights for the Chiefs. Yeah,
One of my
definitely one of
favorites.
our favorites. One of our favorites for sure, man. We'd like to welcome Nate Taylor back to Kingdom Cast. How you doing, Nate?
Nathaniel.
Oh man. It is great to be back. Thank you, fellas. God, we're already dunking on Chandler Jones. How could you not love Red Week, right?
That's what it's all about. Dunking on our rivals, man.
Oh, but no, I'm good. I'm happy to join you guys. Glad it worked out. Because it's scheduled, boy. It's been anything but normal. And we going from late afternoon West Coast games to Thursday night games, Sunday night, now Monday night. So, but yeah, I'm hope y'all doing well and glad to be here. Glad to hopefully share some information worth it, worth the wait.
Hey Nate, so Nate, what's one of your? Give me 3 of your favorite Raiders versus Chiefs games.
Ooh, 3.
Good question, Country.
I was gonna say 5, but I'm letting you off.
Yeah, you're good. Like, all right, the third one is I think it was was this Vermeil? It was maybe Vermeil's first year. Dick Vermeil's first year. So there was some optimism around it, and I think this is like the one highlight I remember of Snoop Menace. But Snoop Menace in the home opener, season opener, had that diving touchdown catch against the Raiders in kind of like that final 4 to 3 minute stretch. And John Gruden was leading the Raiders, and they went right down the field and I think either scored a game-winning touchdown or a game-winning field goal. I think it was 27-24 if my memory is correct. But I just remember being kind of hyped for Snoop Menace, and then that was the peak. He could never be consistent, and I don't know if injuries got involved. So that's number 1. Or that's number 3, I guess. Number 1, now this is going to the Elvis Gerbach days. This is in 1998 maybe. But it was one of the rare times that and maybe Andre Rison was on the team, but it was one of the rare times where they went into the Coliseum on a Sunday or a Monday night and actually won the game on a 2-minute drive. And I remember how excited my dad was in the living room because we all were just well, I mean, we got to watch the end. I mean, we got to see what happens, but but they actually went right down the field, kind of methodical, and won the game, and so that was cool. And then I think for all the drama, and this is me obviously having the job I have now with the Athletic. Number 1 is the fact that these boys, these gentlemen. These guys with a poor Rich Bisaccia, because Rich Bisaccia did a hell of a job last year. He actually got them to the playoffs. They had so many scandals, so many distractions, as coaches say. My buddy Tashawn Reed, who covers the Raiders for us at the Athletic, was I've never wanted a season to end sooner because it's everything that happened with Henry Ruggs, the Gruden emails come out. I mean, it was bad. It was real bad. But I just couldn't believe with an interim coach, and he could only do so much, but I just can't believe they actually showed up at Arrowhead the year after they did the whole taking victory laps, being we're just gonna step on the logo today. We're gonna treat this like we're in the Big Ten or the SEC on a Saturday, and we're gonna if we're Georgia, we're gonna show Florida who's the boss. And it's just no, in the moment, y'all. I was in the press box, and it was no, what are they doing? And then of course, I think it was Josh Jacobs fumbles the first snap, goes right for a touchdown. We don't need to play another snap, y'all. It's academic from here. So that's my favorite Chiefs Raiders memory or game, I should say, just because it was so easy to write, fellas. sometimes you make it personal. You're like, hey, these fourth quarter comebacks, these are hard to write because you're like, it could go this way, it could go that way. There's a lot of characters. Man, they gave you the story before kickoff. Like we don't like y'all. We hate y'all. We go step on the logo. Everybody's going, we're gonna do this in front of everybody. And it's like, okay, well, now we see how the Chiefs responded, and it was really fun because you just asked every player. They're like, you could have had nothing to do with the game outcome. How did you feel about the Raiders stepping on the logo? Like, how did you feel? Like, what was said in the locker room? Like, you're just going back and forth, that guy. So that was the best. That's one of the best Chiefs Raider games. Not for like significance of the outcome, but just how fun it was to sort of see a rivalry play out. To see like, okay, like even in 2021. When neither one of these teams are, one team's obviously good and one team's bad, like the rivalry still holds something. And I just can't believe they did that. I'm just like, I felt so poor I was like, Rich, like,
what were they thinking?
This is not how you motivate. Like, you're motivating the other team. You're not even motivating yourself. You're trying to pump yourself up, but they're watching you because there's cameras in here. Like, what are you doing? So that's my top three. Hope I got most of those other 2 years right.
I will give you the 3 games that pissed you off. The one where they had like 5 downs at the goal line.
Oh my goodness!
That was Alex Smith's last year. I believe that was their first loss of the year on Thursday night.
That's when Mark.
That wasn't the Eric Berry game, though, was it?
No. That was the Monday night where Derek Carr beat us. The last time he beat us at Arrowhead, right? Was that the last time he beat us?
It ain't been that many times. So, okay.
It was a Thursday night game. We were like 9-0, and they beat us. And then Eric Berry had cancer the next day.
Yeah,
I remember calling you. I was at work and I called you like, Boogie, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
It can't get no worse than this, Boogie. So the 5 downs at the goal line. Jamarcus Russell actually beating us.
Oh man,
that's a tough one. That's a tough one, y'all.
Oh,
that might be that. I might count that twice because that was terrible. And whenever Rich Gannon would beat us, because that was just always like, why did we let Rich go? That was the wrong move.
Because of Elvis Gerback. Elvis Gerback had the contract, man. That's the way it works.
Elvis blue suede shoes wasn't helping him.
I know you love that 5 touchdown Jamal Charles game, though, right?
Yeah, that's probably Seth Kaiser's best or favorite game because he talks to me about that all the time. Just like we had Jamal Charles and 10 other guys, and we just kept giving the ball to him like it was a high school game. Like he just better than all y'all. So the more we can get the ball in his hands, the easier it'll be for us to win. And that's like they actually play like that. But yeah, Seth and I have talked about that game all the time where it was like, how do the Raiders not understand that he's the only person on the field who's special? Like,
what about
guard this man somehow?
What about when they signed Carson Palmer on Tuesday and played him that Sunday?
Oh man!
I was there. I was there.
That was the Brandon Flowers getting the beer shower in the end zone game.
Yes,
the Raiders have been so bad for 2 decades that like you could reference that country, and I'm like, that's right. They actually did that one year.
They signed him on Tuesday from his couch. He was retired, right?
Yeah. Well, he was retired for a moment. Yep.
They must have had injuries, but just like you can't do that. Like you just can't. Come on, man. There's nobody on the practice squad. So yeah, the Raiders. Whew, my goodness, man. But yeah, you can say like 4 or 5 things about the Raiders. I'll be like, yeah, I can believe that. That happened. They're the Washington and Oakland / Vegas. You tell me any story from those 2 teams, and I'll be like, sure, I can believe it. I don't even need to see evidence.
Right.
All the Raiders need to do is next year get Carson Wentz, and I'll be all in. Give me Carson Wentz in black and silver, man, please.
No. We got can Carson live in one residence for 2 years? Like,
Man,
can we get this guy some stability? I mean, I felt
I cannot believe Carson Wentz should have been an MVP in the regular season, and I was a big Carson Wentz fan. Man, you talk about 1 year
Boogie.
changing his whole career.
Yep, and an injury, right? An injury changing his whole career, honestly.
Back. Yep.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, because of the because Nick Foles took that team obviously to win the Super Bowl, and that and Carson Wentz was a better player that year. Despite all the heroics that Nick Foles had. So yeah, this game happens. It changes so quick from 1 year. You're really good. You're at the peak of your powers, and then you have an injury or situation changes up, or you go to a different team, and it's not the same. And the thing I always have to think about is like there's so many new guys who are just ready to like show their skills, right? And so you might not get the same opportunity that you would like in college, So guys come in every year, some of them at your position, and then you're like, dang, that guy's good. Like all of a sudden, like I'm a backup. Like that's just the way it works at the quarterback position if you don't succeed in like the first 2 or 3 years.
Y'all know one more thing that was good about the Chiefs-Raider rivalry was when Marcus Peters was with the Chiefs.
Because he was from
extra. It was always a little extra spice to it when he was here too.
Yeah, he's from Oakland.
You remember when Marshawn Lynch was going to fight his own team?
I think that was that Thursday game. I think that was that Thursday game where like and what's wild is like that was the first game of like Alex Smith's like slump in the midway of the in the middle of the 2017 season, but they still had the lead, right? And so the defense is like just giving up like territory. They're just going down the field. And like I guess at that point, Marshawn was like, "Oh, we're gonna score a touchdown anyway," and so he started acting a fool. And then Marcus Peters gets involved. I mean, it was just like, "But y'all are from Oakland. Y'all doing this in front of everybody." Oh, what a time, man! Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this Thursday night game alone. But remember, the defensive guy. I don't know what he did, but he thought the game was over. He took his helmet off and gave us 15 more yards to get us close.
That's why you can't like. I know the betting line is what I think it's 7 points on Monday. You just never know, man. You just never know with these two teams.
I hate it.
It's not like
I don't trust that.
I hate it.
It's on the NFC side, it's like Packers Bears, right? But like until Aaron Rodgers, as long as Aaron Rodgers is there, I'm like, just take the Packers. And I know the Chiefs have Patrick, of course, but I don't know, man. These games have been closer than I think most fans probably wanted to, because the Chiefs have the more talented team. But it's a rivalry game, and so unless the Raiders step on the logo again, it's probably gonna be closer to 7 points. But hey, if they do that on Monday Night Football, by all means, fellas, by all means, Raiders, do what you got to do to pump yourself up to just ask for a beatdown.
But here's why I love my quarterback and he's petty. Troy Aikman is the reason they're gonna get their ass whooped on Monday.
Let's talk about it, man.
It has nothing. Sorry, Las Vegas fans, Oakland fans, LA fans. It has nothing to do with you. It's Troy Aikman. He's throwing at least 4 touchdowns.
I mean, that's all he needs to surpass it. That's all he needs.
We will have another meme come out this game. There will be a meme from this game.
Do you think he'll do the counting? You think he'll count like he did in Arizona or in Chicago?
Does he have 162?
I don't know. Why am I running off the field in Chicago holding up 10 fingers? I just don't know why I'm doing that. Or,
what did Chicago do to him? Chicago did nothing. It wasn't even necessary.
Chicago passed on him. Chicago passed on him. He took Trubisky, man.
They took Trubisky over him, man. Hey, y'all said Lamar was just as good as me. 1, 2, 3. I guess I'm the 4th best player in the league, So it happens, man. It happens. But you're right, country, because the way this whole thing played out, I remember like it was yesterday. It was on our podcast, Tom Czar's on The Athletic with Josh Briscoe, Seth Kaiser, and myself.
Great
Josh,
podcast, by the way. Great podcast.
Thank you. Me and Seth are just, talking about the upcoming game. I can't remember what it was, but it was in 19. And it may have been after the Detroit game. And Josh is just playing on his computer, going through stats. He's like, fellas, he's trending to pass Troy Aikman quicker than we all realized. So
I forgot it was Josh. It was.
He was the first person to mention that, and he said on the record, he was like, "Well, he's a better quarterback than Troy Aikman." And I was like, "Hey," because like I know how the internet works. Like I said, "Oh no, what we doing? And then like he just took. He's like, "Hey, he's a better quarterback. He's gonna have more stats," which is obviously the case. And so we, our producer at the time, Danielle Lehman, she clipped, like she took the audio clip, put it on Twitter. It goes like crazy. Back to Troy, who I actually enjoy talking to, and Troy's like, "Come at me when this man, gets 33%, of my rings, or like it's funny, man. It's a great time." And that season they won the Super Bowl, so it was just like and by the way, Troy Aikman was the color commentator for the game for Fox at the time. I mean, so look, man, we got Bobby Stroop, Patrick Mahomes, long-time trader. Shout out Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman will obviously be in the booth with Joe Buck on Monday night, and yeah, like this man's gonna pass your career touchdown mark in his 6th year when he only played 5 seasons because he was the backup as a rookie.
Wow.
Like I know it's a passing league, but dang,
Yeah.
like dang,
That's crazy.
So,
I've gotten in
how much the game
trouble.
has changed. It shows how much the game has changed over time, and
Hey,
it's crazy.
Chuck, I've gotten in trouble for saying this before against somebody else. I don't want to be blocked no more. But Bobby is definitely Mahomes' outlet to the world.
You think so, country?
Well, obviously,
And
you might be on to something.
I don't want to get blocked for this. I love Bobby. I don't want to be. I don't want none of this. This doesn't reflect the show. This is just my opinion and my opinion alone, and not Nate Taylor or the Athletic or KCSN. He got 5 jobs. This represents none of them. But Bobby talks for Pat often and early on Sundays and all through Sunday. It's not just the Chiefs game he talks. He talks all day, and he's vicious. Bobby is the best. If you don't follow Bobby, you are missing out on something, because every Sunday he lets the chopper fly, and it is beautiful.
So good, Mac. Yes,
Mac,
that is so true. That is so true. Because like they don't forget anything, man. Like if one of these national shows says something, like if it's on ESPN or Fox Sports 1, like they're aware of it. They know just about everything that we all say to some degree.
You see what Kelsey said on his podcast about reading Twitter?
Yep.
I've seen Kelsey, by the way. I think he was actually trying to figure out what he wanted to say. But this is after the Colts game. Like Kelsey's just at his locker, really frustrated, and he's just reading Twitter. And then like 20 minutes later is when he put out his tweet or whatever, sort of apologizing to fans for dropping that touchdown pass. So yeah, they all read, they're all aware. But man, like I to your guys' point, I have Bobby up on my tweet deck during games. I kind of see what he's saying. I kind of understand that. His point last Sunday was we need more points. Got his foot on their neck. It's Tom Brady on the other end.
I said it too.
Not today, Satan. Nope, we need more points.
Keep it rolling.
And you got to pay attention because sometimes tweets get deleted, and those are very, very entertaining.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you can always screenshot.
Shout out to Arizona.
But it's true, man. Like, so you could tell that like Bobby and Pat had talked about the game. You know, I think Bobby has an understanding of what the team wants to do from like a strength and conditioning standpoint because he works out with a lot of the guys in the offseason. And yeah, Pat may share, here's how we're thinking about this opponent. And so they must have had a conversation before the game of like, hey, even if we're up 10, go get 17. Even if you're up 17, go get 24, go get 20. You know, and so he relayed that message to everybody else. And yeah, you know, like Bobby's number one enemy on Sunday was Shaq Barrett, just Shaquille Barrett, just laughing at the offensive linemen when those are guys are the ones that are supposed to protect, you know, his top client. You know, they're supposed to protect Mahomes. So yeah, they are aware of it. I'm just gonna read these tweets verbatim real quick on the Troy Aikman thing, y'all. So we published this on September 20, 2019. So we're 3 years into this. But it says today on a New Times Ours, Josh Briscoe, Bonnet Taylor, you know, Seth Kaiser agree that Patrick Mahomes may, in fact, be a good quarterback. And then it plays a clip of Josh saying, like, you know, he's already got this much of Troy Aikman's stats. And then our account from The Athletic tweeted, in case you missed it, Patrick Mahomes has thrown 36% of Troy Aikman's career touchdowns in about 8% of his games. So that was the stat that Josh referenced. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 36% of Troy Aikman's career touchdowns in 8% of the games. To which then, later that day, Troy Aikman, who clearly searched his name on Twitter, shout out to him, responds and says, in case you missed it, talk to me when he has 33% of my Super Bowl titles. Again, they won the Super Bowl that same year, months later. So, you know, it's all going to come full circle. Monday night, where Troy may have to acknowledge publicly that this man is really good. He's exceptional. And I'm in the Hall of Fame. And he already got all my stats, or got the ones that are super important, you know, touchdown passes.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, man, I want to talk to you about Patrick Mahomes going against these number one defenses, because we just went up against a number one scoring defense at Tampa, put a 40 ball on him, and his career stats is crazy. Like, he's 6-1 now. Chiefs average 31 points per game. He's throwing 322.4 yards per game. Got a pass rating of 94.3. So like, I mean, what are you seeing from your eyes as far as like how they've been able to have success against the number one scoring defenses?
Yeah, a lot of it is Mahomes and Kelsey, right? Like, I don't care who you have on defense. You better have pass rushers, and you better have somebody who can at least account for Travis Kelsey. They have not been able to do that. A lot of those games obviously involve Tyreek Hill, so that's like another element to it. You know, you got that speed threat, that deep threat. But look, man, like, Tampa was like the last team that could really say, like, hey, we like legitimately stopped the Chiefs, you know, because we had the pass rush against the Chiefs, you know, sort of secondary offensive line in the Super Bowl. And then we had like Levante David. We had Devin White to cover Travis Kelsey. So outside of that, I've never seen it happen. And that's why it's so interesting that you bring up that stat, Chuck, because Mahomes uses his legs. He really gets into his bag of tricks, whether it's, hey, I'm a spin move here, I'm a do something crazy with the football. Like, you think you got me sacked, you don't have me sacked. And I think from a play design standpoint too, it's clear that Mahomes, Bieniemy, Reed, all these guys are like, let's give our best stuff to the best defense and let's see if they stack up. And like you referenced, I mean, 31 points, you put that on anybody, you're more than likely going to win the game. So, you know, Mahomes is just he's a superhero who gets ready for like the biggest battles. I mean, that's the easiest way of saying it. So, you know, it's funny, you know, my buddy Greg Allman, who covers the Buccaneers for us at The Athletic, you know, we talked before the game on Sunday in Tampa in the press box, and he was like, man, Greg was like, I done tried to tell everybody that I don't know if the Bucs want to see these guys coming off a loss. and all I did was go.
Yeah, and then Shaq Barrett gave that bulletin board material. Shaq Barrett gave bulletin board material. That was the icing on the cake right there.
Yep.
Nate, did you get Telvin Smith Jacksonville vibes when he said that?
Ooh, I had.
You remember the Telvin Smith press conference?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Oh my God! Like,
we never found out what he was laughing about. We never found out. He never told us.
I wouldn't tell anybody now either. We got curve stomped. Yeah, like okay, like let's compare these two things. Again, I have no idea why the Raiders would want to step on the Arrowhead logo in Arrowhead. That don't make no sense, regardless what the circumstances are. I can at least understand Shaq Barrett's comments because the last time they played them, they did dominate the Chiefs. And yes, it's not the same offensive line, but he's going to think of it like, well, shoot, I'm the reason we won the game because I was in Mahomes' face all day. And it was me and it was, Vita Vea and it was, Ndamukong Suh and, we had JPP. So, like, who says we can't do it again? They're coming back to our stadium. We feel good. We the number one best defense in the league at the time. Like, I at least understand his thought process or his psyche. Because it was clear he didn't want to give a real answer. But at the same time, I could at least be in his shoes to some degree and be like, well, why wouldn't I be confident even though, the Chiefs are coming off a loss, even though they got a new offensive line, even though they want revenge for the Super Bowl. Like, they feel all those things because of what we did on our side of the ball, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the Raiders from if you have like enough intel from them, because what I've seen from them this year is Derek Carr and Devontae, they not quite in sync yet. I know last game, even though they won, they had a couple of miscommunication issues, like they not on the same page and all that. They just now got their running game going, but you can run on Denver. Denver's run defense hasn't been good all year long anyway. So and then the Raiders, they got a new defensive scheme. They run a 3-4 now, and this defensive coordinator, like, he was with the Giants, and they was like near the bottom in yards given up and everything. So, like, what's been some of the stuff you've been seeing as far as the Raiders and their issues?
Were you gonna say something, Boogie?
I was just gonna say they did have the Giants D coordinator, but he did do a good job against Kelsey. So,
yeah, what I see from the Raiders is a team that has not totally got its defense together. And so I think in some ways the offense feels a bit of pressure, right? They're like, it's so wild. Like the Raiders against the Cardinals, for instance, like they played really well. Like I think they were out coaching the Cardinals early in that game. It was the Sunday after the Thursday game, so I got to watch all these games on my couch. I got to watch Red Zone or whatever, and it was just like, man, they are really putting it on the Cardinals. And then you sort of look like I sort of looked to Holly, and I'm like, maybe the Cardinals are just gonna be boo-boo this year. Like what happened? And it's like, man, it's like through 6 quarters they look god awful. And then I think Kyler Murray was like, I'm gonna go into like superhero mode. I'm gonna start like, they made some adjustments, but like Kyler Murray like got in rhythm. And then you could just feel the pressure on the Raiders offense where it's like, man, we can't make a mistake, or like our defense is not like, it's not good enough to hold for 4 quarters, right? Like that, I think the Raiders defense can have spurts, but they have not put a full game together. And that's going to be asking a lot against the Chiefs offense anyway. But I think Derek Carr feels a bit of pressure because he's on basically a 1-year deal. Like they can cut him after the season and not be totally, it won't totally screw up their cap. Devontae is obviously great, but man, like Aaron Rodgers is really good too. Like there's a reason like they have something special in Green Bay. And you can only do so much with Derek Carr behind an offensive line that is just not good. Like I expect Chris Jones to dominate on Monday night. Like Joey Bosa ate them boys up in the first game. And then the Cardinals don't have a great pass rush, but they did get turnovers, right? They got the fumble to end the game. They got the fumble towards the end of the fourth quarter. I'm not impressed by Denver at all. I told people, like, I can't trust. I got to see it, right? At least I can see what the Raiders did last year. And I'm like, okay, they got better at receiver. They still got Darren Waller. Hunter Renfrow is a nice, really good slot receiver. Hey, they got Chandler Jones, who hasn't worked out, but, like, at least they got somebody, who's supposed to be who's supposed to be like a nice duo next to Max Crosby. Boogie, that defense comes down to, if Max Crosby don't get there, they in trouble.
I agree.
That's the whole defense, man. It's just like, can y'all tackle? Get a turnover and pray that, Max just wreaks havoc on the opposing quarterback. But Mahomes has been really good against Max Crosby because he usually scrambles or he evades Max because he knows that, like, the other side of the defensive line is not as good.
Are they going to use Kelsey like they did last year? Because he chipped off a lot on Max Crosby and
before running out, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good idea. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I mean, especially now with, like, Juju. I think Sky Moore will get more snaps this game. MVS is starting to come on. I just see it, man. Like, Oakland, Las Vegas might be, like, another year away from, like, having a competent defense. But they, like, who are their star players on defense? It's really Max Crosby and, like, I mean, Jonathan Abrams. That's it. Jonathan Abrams is, like, the perfect Raider, but he's not.
Yeah, okay.
He's not Patrick.
We still got Jonathan Abrams.
He's the perfect Raider. You're right about that.
He's still there.
He's definitely the perfect
Raider. You so right.
Perfect Raider.
Yes.
Man, I didn't know Travis Kelce's son was still playing for the Raiders, man.
Hey, he thinks he's great.
Travis embarrassed him. Travis embarrassed him every time they play each other.
Yeah, Darrell Williams got him in the end zone last year in Vegas. I will never forget that. Yep.
Boogie, you mentioned something. What was you saying, Boog? Like, you got stuck. You stuck. Dang. But Nate, you remember when Travis?
Yeah, he's still on the Raiders, guys. I mean, come on. Like, I just looked this up. Like, he is still on the Raiders, man. He's still, like, he might be their best DB, which is,
terrible.
What did he say coming out of college when he got drafted? He said something about they're not gonna do that no more because I'm here now, or something like that, to that effect.
Great. God, he's so great. I love his confidence. Go into life as confident as Jonathan Abrams is, man.
Mac, you ain't lying about that, man.
Go ahead.
You remember Travis Kelce? I guess him and the Raider fans went back and forth a little bit when they was at the I think it was at the American Century Championship, that little celebrity golf tournament they have every year. And Travis Kelce was like, I love Raiders fans because I love to go back and forth with them and I could put up 200 yards on them every game. I know he exaggerated a little bit, but he do be balling out against the Raiders.
I mean, look, they're gonna have a hard time covering Travis Kelce. They might have a hard time. They just might have a hard time in general because, like, the only way to beat the Chiefs so far is to beat them up front, which is what the Colts did, and it's to get, like, some turnovers, right? Whether it's a muff punt or that late game interception from Stephon Gilmore, which was really good when he tipped the ball. But yeah, like, you're gonna have to stop them in the red zone. You're gonna have to get turnovers. You're gonna have to get push up front. Have the Raiders demonstrated this through 4 games?
No, sir.
So I know it's a rivalry game. I know these things can get closer, but, like, the Chiefs will have to play a role if they lose on Sunday. Like, they'll have to, kind of beat themselves. Because the team that beat the Buccaneers, I'm like, whew, that's Super Bowl caliber, or at least that's like AFC Championship. Let's run this back against the Bills, or let's run this back against the Bengals and see who wins. With both teams playing at a high level. But yeah, the Raiders need Josh Jacobs to play well. Derek Carr needs to, like, be competent. Don't screw anything up. My question to y'all is, and I've been thinking about this the last 2 days, is who do you want like Spagnuolo really doesn't do like that shadow coverage where like a guy just like he's just on my island. Like I'm gonna just mirror wherever he goes. But like who would you guys want to be the person that's primarily covering Devontae Adams in the secondary?
It feels
The
like
way he's been playing,
Go ahead, Coach.
Snead has been playing lights out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he would get the lion's share of the snaps. You agree there? If McDuffie was not hurt, it would definitely be.
Yeah. Like because they will put Adams in the slot. Like him and Renfro kind of go back and forth. But yeah, like that you're definitely right that Snead is probably the best cornerback right now on the team.
He's having a hell of a year.
He really is.
Having a hell of a year.
But I don't know if like if you're the Raiders, you're like, well, how can we scheme it up to where he's with Rashad Fitton, who has a clear height disadvantage. I thought, man, Brady's good. He's still good. Mike Evans is awesome. I don't feel bad at all for Jalen Watson. It's like, dude, Mike Evans is great. By the way, I don't know if C-Dot is watching. I know they'll get relayed to him, but like, guys, I think we won the argument. Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer. I know I had this discussion with him like a week and a half ago, and I was like, he's a Hall of Fame level receiver. Like he was catching passes from Jameis Winston. Now he catching passes from Tom Brady. Like,
Nate, respectfully, I gotta disagree with you. And I'm
here we go.
on Mike Evans in a lot. I gotta disagree.
He's gonna have better
with Carrington. We can't just let above average receivers in the Hall of Fame. I love Mike Evans.
But the numbers, man. The numbers, man.
I mean,
the numbers and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, there is that, Nate. He does have that. But I think
Julio doesn't. I feel bad for Julio. It's not Julio's fault they blew that lead. But like Julio don't have the stats and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but here's my thing though. Like with Mike Evans, like I'm gonna use Deion Sanders' criteria for the Hall of Fame because I agree with him on this. Like, do you consider Mike Evans as somebody who changed the game as far as wide receivers? He got the numbers, but do you consider like a game breaker, a game changer?
Yikes!
I would even.
Why you gotta ask that question, Chuck?
I'm just saying it is tough for receivers to get in the Hall of Fame. It is tough for them.
Like I can say that about. I can't say that about Julio. Julio was amazing. Like, I can say that about Tyreek Hill, right? I can say that about Randy Moss. Jerry Rice, of course he changed the game. Like, Megatron, just throw it up to him. How did, that's a whole other thing about Detroit. Like, how does Detroit waste just Hall of Fame talent in back-to-back decades? But, like, all those guys, I could agree with you. Like, yes, they changed the game. It don't matter who's on them. They're going to get yards. They're going to get production. You can put them in any team, any playbook. Like, they're going to find a way. With Mike Evans, he's great. But he ain't. I don't know if he's that great.
Nate,
he's all very good. He's all very good to me.
Let me ask you this. Has Mike Evans ever been a top 5 receiver?
That 2020 season is really close, Boogie. 2020
That's when he had 1,500 yards, right, with Jameis?
20? No. That was okay. So that if that's the case, let me look this up. That might be 19. But in 2020, I thought Mike Evans was great with Tom Brady for the first time.
Oh,
and obviously they won the Super Bowl.
He definitely was.
How much does playing in Tampa Bay hurt him though for his entire career?
Yeah. But like,
I'm not saying Boogie looked at me like that's crazy, but a lot of people don't. We don't see a lot of Mike Evans though until Brady got there. Like
until Brady got there, yeah, right. He's not on national television,
right.
or not a ton. Hold on, the stats are loading here in a minute, but yeah, like I don't. That's tough because
is Andre Johnson a Hall of Famer?
Like we just got to be aware that there are going to be a lot of receivers getting in the Hall of Fame. Yes, Andre Johnson is a Hall of Famer, guys. We just got to live with this. So Yeah, 2018 is what you're referencing, Boogie. Or
Okay.
Jesus, in 16 games he had 1,524 yards on 86 receptions. His average was 17.7. Ooh, that is. And he had 8 touchdowns. In 2020, with Tom Brady for the first time, he had 13 touchdowns and more than 1,000 yards. Last year, he was in the Pro Bowl with 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. So, he's got multiple years with double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah, I want the people in the comments though, because Mike Evans, he doesn't have an All-Pro team on his resume, and D-Hop got 3 of them. I think DeAndre Hopkins got a little bit of a better case than Evans, even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring.
And I don't even think D-Hop is a Hall of Famer.
But he's more of a game changer than Mike Evans.
Right.
In my opinion. I give you that.
Right. Yeah. I think that's true. So the Super Bowl matters. Like, long-term legacy, what did you do in January and early February? Like, all that stuff matters. I mean, he's just going to have like 15,000 receiving yards probably. So that's going to get you in the Hall of Fame. He's already at 10,000 basically. Just, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be next year or 2 years' time, but I can see the future, guys. He's getting in the Hall of Fame.
If Giselle leave Brady, it might be Brady one more year.
Okay. This is something that I couldn't wait to talk about with y'all. Look, Tom, I'm going to tell you this right now. You got to walk away, man. You got to know when to let it go. You can't be at the poker table till 6 a.m. It's just like we've all been it. We've all done it. I don't ever feel good after it. And I just want you to feel good about your life, man. I just want you to feel good about your career. Like, you have nothing else to accomplish. Y'all are gonna get beat down probably in January in the playoffs. And like, yeah, Giselle's worth more than you. And like, hey man, marriage is about sacrifice. So like, we don't need to see this man play football next year, guys. We really don't.
Giselle is Teddy KGB right now. She's whooping your ass at the table.
They said
with her Oreos in hand, and she's whooping you. That's a Rounders reference. If you don't know that, go watch Rounders, please.
Like
they said Brady about to throw his marriage away to play the Panthers twice every year, man. That's crazy.
I mean,
man.
Come on, man.
That's wild, man.
Man, you got kids with this woman. This woman has been dedicated to you, been dedicated to that TB12. Man, you told her one thing, and now it's another. Like, it's just no, man.
Come on, Hefe. Come on, Hefe.
No, man. AB took it a little too far with that.
Well, that's
a little too far with that.
AB dog. AB needs some help, man. He definitely needs some help, man. Like, we just now know about exposing people in the pool in the hotel. It's crazy, man. But I used to pay.
It's crazy.
But I used to pay in full references. Speaking of references, I used to pay in full reference the other night in regards to Brady, because somebody was like, "Man, I think Brady need to go ahead and walk away and get his lady." And I was like, "Man, so he might be like Mitch talking to Ace and paid in full, talking about if I leave the game, do the fans still love me, man?"
You're 45.
Brady is entertaining enough. He's actually an entertaining guy outside of the football field. He can have a career. He can be around the game.
Right. You got broadcast deals, man.
Bro, it's not like Giselle is it's not like Giselle is the girl from high school he's been with for 30 years. She's a supermodel, billionaire almost. Like,
can I give a real comparison, or one that I think is like legitimate? Look, man, when the last Jay-Z album come out?
Oh man,
that's all I need to say. That's all I need to say. When was the last Jay-Z album?
Nate, don't do that. Don't do that to the country, man. Don't
even
do
Jay-Z
that,
gotta know
please, man.
Look, even Jay-Z gotta know when to stop, man. I don't need to be in the booth all the time.
What happened to this interview? It was going great. Mate.
When was the last Jay-Z album? Look, Jay-Z.
Brady took that 1 week. He had to have them kids that 1 week.
Look. Jay-Z knows he can't rap forever. I love the Jay-Z rock records. They're amazing. They're impeccable. I love Fo Fo Fo. But like I don't need another Jay-Z album. And guess what, kids? I don't need another Tom Brady season after this one. I don't.
Nate, I agree with you, but I don't want country to kick me off Kingdom Cast, man. But I
Stop it.
Country's so hurt right now.
Look, country. You can say Jay-Z is the rap legend. He the hip hop legend, right? He the Tom Brady of the game. But at some point, you gotta stop rapping. Like at some point, the rap game will be fine. The NFL will be fine, Tom.
You see, Buddy said today it's been a lot of bad football he's been watching.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw
that.
I mean, he's not wrong. Have y'all seen the Carolina?
He's definitely not wrong. No, it's not just the team. I'm talking about situational football, man. You got Kast running shotgun on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Y'all making it 4th and 3. Like, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. So like, I get it. I'm just saying, man. Like, I will play Reasonable Doubt with glee. Okay, I will play the Blueprint. I'll play them. Okay.
Like, what? There's nothing left for him to accomplish.
Exactly.
There's no record he's chasing. He's not chasing Kareem. He's not chasing Barry Bonds. There's nothing left for him to do. It's over. Enjoy it. Ride into the sunset.
Right.
Smoke some weed with Gronk.
With Buddy.
Relax, bud.
Oh shoot!
But shout out to Joe Biden. But there's nothing left for him to do in the game. He's done it all. Stop, bro. That's nasty. He's done it all in the game. There's nothing left for him to accomplish. He got 6 or 7 rings. He's the man. He's considered the GOAT by the majority of football fans. There's nothing left for him to do.
Yep, you're right about that. But real quick, man, just because we're a little short on time, man. Let's go ahead and get to the game, conclude the game real quick, and give our offensive and defensive guys to look out for, score predictions, all that stuff. So Nate, how do you see this? How do you see this one turning out? And give us somebody to look out for on offense and defense.
Yeah, I said it. Like if people listen to Times Are, they'll hear a similar thing. But like,
okay,
I picked 31-27 Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be closer than the betting line, or the Chiefs are favored by 7 last I saw. Mm-hmm. On offense, I want to say Sky Moore, guys. I really do. I really, really do. I think he'll play more snaps.
Please
don't do that to me, Nate. Please don't do me like that.
Like
don't do me like that.
Kind of feels like a Juju Smith-Schuster game, right? The Raiders, understandably, will give a lot of attention to Travis Kelce. Whether they succeed or not, that's up to them. But I think Juju will do really well in this game. It's wild because last week the tight end scored all the touchdowns. Juju has yet to catch a touchdown pass this season. I think Andy Reid's aware of that. I think Eric Bieniemy's aware of that. Obviously, Patrick knows all the stats. So I think Juju will probably get in the end zone on Sunday. As much as I want to say Sky Moore, y'all, it's early October. It's not late October. And I know it's a long season, fellas. And the way this works, like Nick Bolton didn't get on the field till like middle October.
Me and Chuck was talking about that. We think Sky will be a little bit after that bye week, probably. So
okay, yeah. So that would be early. That'd be early November. Yeah. They're gonna give him snaps, and if he's open, obviously Patrick will try to find him. But like I think McColl's getting a little bit healthier week by week, so he might try to get back into the flow of it because he's been playing basically hurt. Like he's just been trying to gut it out. But yeah, like I think this is probably a Juju game. On defense, look, everything starts and ends with Chris Jones. He could destroy them boys. Because the one thing that's different about, like, there might not be much change or much of a difference I don't want to sound like Shaq Barrett now, but there might not be much of a difference between the Buccaneers offensive line and the Raiders offensive line because they're both pretty weak on the interior. Difference is Tom Brady gets that ball out in 2 seconds. Derek Carr doesn't. He might hold it for 2.5, 3 seconds, and with the crowd loud,
longer.
I think this will be a real interesting game from the Raiders standpoint, right? Because they played obviously in Las Vegas, which is like, Tennessee's like all right, but I mean they're not very good, or their fans aren't as passionate as like Chiefs fans, from a crowd noise standpoint. You all have already referenced that Derek Carr doesn't really play well in Arrowhead anyway. Look, man, they're 1-3. They kind of need to like show something. Even if they're gonna lose on Monday, at least come out of there being like, okay, we took on one of the best teams in the AFC, and if we play like this, we'll beat half the other teams in the AFC and we'll get back into the playoff hunt. But they can't come out here and look like they did last year, is all I'm saying. So everything starts and ends with Chris Jones. If he gets a couple sacks on Derek Carr, that goes well. That means that, hey, George Karlaftis is going to get some one-on-ones. Frank Clark will get one-on-ones. Carlos Dunlap will get one-on-one opportunities. So I don't think anybody needs to make it complicated on defense. Just stop Josh Jacobs, and then now you get the tee off on Derek Carr.
And Chris Jones is the leader in pass rush win rate right now. He's ahead of Aaron Donald right now. So.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
And again, who is the Raiders center, fellas? Anybody know this?
I have no idea. I know he's terrible. That's all I know.
Dang.
Well, I did not ask that to get that response. I just wanted to hear
Terrible Jones.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
I don't know his name. I just know he's terrible. Really? Damn, Chuck.
Terrible, his first name or his last name? Who is their center?
All right. You want to take a guess, Boogie? You want to take a guess?
It ain't Rodney Hudson.
Rodney Hudson. Why ask the question? Because that's probably where you think of from years past.
Yeah, I know it used to be Hudson, but he gone. Who we got? Who we got, Nate?
The center, ladies and gentlemen, is Andre James. Okay, he is from UCLA. He is in his 4th season. This is his first legitimate. I'm starting every game in his career.
Oh,
that's rough.
God bless him. God bless him.
Nation.
Country, who you got, man, for your offensive and defensive player to look out for? I know
since Nate want to steal my people, I think that my boy Watson got thrown in the fire last week. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be better for it, and I think he's going to make a play this week to redeem that last game. As far as offense, and Boogie, I'm cheating. You have to pick Clyde because every time you pick Clyde, we've won. So we only want to talk about your defensive guy. You got to pick Clyde. My boy scored 2 touchdowns every time you pick him. So you got to pick Clyde. We already discussed. But I want to say Juju too. And just to be different, I'll go with MVS. MVS was on the verge of a good game. He had that drop. It kind of ruined it. So I think this week he plays the DeMarcus Robinson. You remember DeMarcus Robinson used to just kill the Raiders?
Yeah.
I think
that's why they signed
him. MVS kills the Raiders this week. It's the MVS game.
And for MVS, this is kind of I don't know if it's kind of a buddy rivalry, right? Because he's really close to Devontae Adams. So, I'm sure he wants to ball out, with
I
Adams.
Didn't think about that, Nate. That's an interesting angle. That is a very interesting angle.
One of the first things that MVS did when he signed with the team is he talked with Devontae and man, wow, we get to play each other twice a year now because I guess the week earlier he got traded to the Raiders, and then obviously they the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill and they signed Marquez. So yeah, both of those guys are going to want to play well in front of the other.
All right, Bug, it's on you, man.
Hey,
Of
Clyde.
course, Clyde.
Hey. I wrote the Athletic today. So it's on record. I can't take it back now because our editors asked us for like, hey, who do you think has been the team MVP so far? I was like, Mahomes, obviously. Who's been the player who's been the top rookie? I said Watson, just because hey, he had a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown. He has not been like a defensive liability in the secondary. They're like, hey, which player needs to improve, or which star player needs to improve? And it's like, based on the contract situation, it probably needs to be Orlando Brown. Like, if he can get healthy and get back to like being top, get to his peak form. Like, if Orlando Brown plays really well, he is a top 10 left tackle in the league. But he's been dealing with injuries and he played awful against the Colts. Hey, he played better against the Bucs. And then my editors asked us, who is your breakout player for the season right now and probably for the remainder of the year? And I said Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is on pace, fellas, for 1,400 all-purpose yards.
Not bad.
So
remember the
Nate,
bet,
if
Boogie.
he hits 1,200 all-purpose, I have to apologize to
Remember
Country
the
on
bet.
air. So I guess I'm gonna be happy if he does it. I guess. But my offensive player this week, I'm gonna go with Wiley, because like you said, Crosby is all they got. If Wiley has a good game, and we don't hear Crosby name, I don't think this game will be close. So I'm gonna go with Wiley on offense. Defense, I want to go with Bolton because I know Josh Jacobs. To me, if we can stop Josh Jacobs and we just make Derek Carr have to beat us, I'm confident. So I want to get Josh Jacobs out the game. I'll go with the linebackers, Bolton and Harris, to do that this week.
So love it.
Sounds good.
All right, so it's all on me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off on the offensive side of the ball. And when I watched some of the all 22 from last game, right? And there were a couple plays where McCall Hardman actually got open. He ran better routes. And Patrick didn't look his way because he didn't trust him. I mean, just based on how the Colts game went. But I feel like Patrick probably looked at the film and he may see that he can regain McColl's trust this week. So I think McColl will get a shot, man, to produce. So I'm gonna go with 17, man. 17 is your time to get back on the board, man. So I'm gonna go with McColl. And of course, like tight end university, man, because I mean Travis Kelce, we already mentioned he tortured the Raiders. But look for Jody Fortson too, man. Fortson may get another touchdown. So look for that. Defensively, yeah, I'm pretty much with you guys on Chris Jones and Nick Bolton, man. I feel like we're gonna need to stop the run because I think Josh McDaniels wants to get that play action pass going. Like if they able to run the ball, they can get that play action pass game going. But I feel like the way our run defense is playing, if we keep doing what we're doing as far as filling in those gaps, which Bolton has done a great job of doing that this year. Harris has showed spurts. Chanel in his limited snaps, he's shown flashes. So I feel like it's going to be Chris Jones or Nick Bolton. I'll probably go either one of those two. So I can't really think of anybody else at the moment. So I'm pretty much with you guys on that.
Hey, Chuck, and like we said last episode, we actually have stopped the run pretty good this year. Great running backs, too. It's not just like average running backs. We stopping great running backs. So it's going to be another big test. We'll see what Bolton and all them can do, man.
Yep. Rookie get attacked this week? The Furious one?
I'll take that.
Oh, he's due.
He's due. He's due.
And with the crowd noise, sort of, pushing them on. Yeah, I can see that. It's wild that like George has actually played really well, but he just doesn't have a sack for whatever reason. Like I think there's been plays where he's done well, and then like Carlos Dunlap sort of, ends the play basically. But yeah.
Yep. Well, all right. That's gonna wrap things up, man. Nate, we appreciate you for being on the show, man. I'm
Anytime.
sure everybody can find Duo Times is ours. Athletic, Kansas City Sports Network. You make an appearance on there. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No, you're good. And just know that like I'm gonna try to keep this thing going with Carrington on on Fridays from 4 to 5 on the drive. I'm gonna just try to find another MVP candidate or another Hall of Fame candidate every show. And just like, hey, Carrington, like Derek Carr. The stats suggest he might be. No, I'm not gonna do that.
That's what Devontae Adams said.
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I mean, hey, Carrington, look. I mean, look at Devontae Adams' stats, man. He's going in the Hall. Every receiver is going in the Hall.
For sure. All right, and then before we go, man, I'd like to get a word from our sponsor here, Homage, man. They got a deal going on. 2 T-shirts for $60 till midnight. Want to cop a T-shirt? Go to the website tonight. Get you some of those. Whether it's sports, pop culture, you name it, they got it all. So pay homage. Go and copy some gear. All right. Anything else, fellas, before we get up out of here?
It's Raider Week. You already know. Bring it. Loud and proud at Arrowhead. Let's break another sound record or something, But Nate, man, you're one of our faves. You gave us a shot when we were small time, and then you've been with us the entire time through the growth, and we always love checking in. We know you got 18 jobs. The boy get bags. If I don't know nothing about Nate gonna get that bag. He got like 18 of them right now. We ain't mad at him at all. Like,
no, I appreciate it, man. They got me running, man.
He the only one in the city on 610 and 810 at the same time. Like, I don't even know how you do that. You're not supposed to do that, Nate. You know that, right?
Look, why you put my business out there?
My bad. I was talking out of turn.
Look, man. No, you're good. I'm just,
No, but Nate, we love you, man. We always support you. Dedicated, bro. We keep inviting you back because you one of our faves. So, man, we appreciate the time. Keep killing it, man. Keep killing it.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys as well, man. It's been fun to see the show grow and take off, and I appreciate everybody watching or listening after the fact. And yeah, like we should do it again probably before the playoffs, right? It's like it kind of dawned on me coming back from Tampa. It's like, man, they're 3-1. That's a playoff team, guys. Like, we're just like get ready. We're doing this all over again. Like we'll be doing this, basically August all the way to January, perhaps February. So yeah, man, I'm sure we'll chat before the playoffs.
Please,
definitely.
Quick, Nate, what's the next stretch, the next 3? Very, very important. What's the record out of the next 3? We got Raiders, Bills, Niners, bye week.
By the way, the Niners can't score 30. So I think the Chiefs, if they shuttle up the way they're supposed to, they'll probably win that game. It might be 2-1. Like, that's probably like the conservative side is to be like 2-1. All right, man. Like, if they're this motivated about beating Tampa, right, which is fine, like, totally understand it. I'm not saying Bills Steelers is a trap game, but it kind of trappy because the Steelers are so bad, and the Bills will only look forward to next week against the Chiefs and Arrowhead. And if I was Sean McDermott, I'd start planning now, y'all. We are talented enough to beat the Steelers. Start looking ahead. Maybe not don't tell the players that, but from a coaching standpoint, I'm like, we need to start getting this KC tape together, start putting it together, start figuring it out. So I'm not going to be surprised if the Bills come in and win. Obviously, they did that last year in the regular season. I think it's going to be a great game. Like, I'm super excited. I think both teams will be 4-1. But yeah, I think probably the logical answer is probably 2-1. But I can see the team winning all 3 games. Like, I don't think that's out of the question either. I just get the sense that if I was Sean McDermott, I'd be like, fellas, we somehow let them get away with it last year. We beat them at home, and yet we played like trash right after it because we got super high and mighty on ourselves. We couldn't be consistent. We lost to Jacksonville when they had Urban Meyer as their coach somehow.
Ooh.
And that was why we had to play Kansas City in January, right? Like, the only reason that game was in Arrowhead was because the Bills kind of didn't live up to their own expectations once they beat the Chiefs. So
Facts.
the message to me would be, hey, like, I don't want to play this team twice in Arrowhead. So if we're gonna beat them, let's beat them in October, so I don't have to play them in January. Like, what I really want is, I don't know, Chiefs fans don't want this, obviously, but what I really want from just like a story and like something new, guys, can you just imagine if the Chiefs have to go to Buffalo for the AFC Championship game? That crowd is going to be psycho in a good way, not in a bad way, but like
I would love to go there.
That crowd is going to be amazing because
Roll me through the table.
Relax,
Please.
relax, sir.
What do
Relax,
I gotta do
sir.
to get that? Please,
Relax,
man.
sir.
What I gotta
Relax.
do? Like, hey,
Relax,
it's gonna be snowing. It's gonna be late January. It's gonna be icy as God knows what. Like Mahomes on the road is pretty tasty, pretty intriguing. Hey, Patrick Mahomes kind of leaves all the good stuff. It's usually on the road in primetime games. So he's never played a road playoff game outside of Super Bowl 55, although they don't ever say that because it was the Super Bowl, even though it was played in Tampa Bay.
Right.
Like, you look on any website, they're like, no, that was a neutral site game. And it's like,
what? Come on, stop it.
Come on. So if I was McDermott, I would just be like, let's win against the Steelers. Let's get out of that healthy. Let's beat the Chiefs. And then, like, let's take the confidence from that and not get, like, too confident to where we can't back it up, so that they can be the number one seed in the AFC so that Kansas City has to come to Buffalo. But if the Chiefs win, like if the Chiefs beat the Raiders and then they beat the Bills, then what do we all do this offseason? Like, that would be my, like, what did I know there's still more than half the season left. But if after 6 games the Chiefs are the number one team in the conference, after they traded away Tyreek Hill and everybody made moves to like go after them, not a good look in the AFC. Not a good look for everybody else, which will only prove how brilliant Mahomes, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and Steve Spagnuolo are at this. That people can continue to come after them. But if they beat the Raiders, the Bills, and then back it up and beat the 49ers to go on the bye week, whew.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But Boogie, man, me and you are pretty much like the same frame as far as like size, bro. Your ass don't need to be thrown through a table, dog. We don't need that, bro. we got
not just any time. In the freezing cold is when Boogie wants to be thrown through a table.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I be standing there like Jim Ross talking about, by God, they killed him. They killed him.
Unbelievable.
Hey, Kingdom Cast, man. Like and subscribe, comment. We appreciate y'all. Nate Taylor, we love you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing.
Same here. Love you, fellas.
We'll see y'all after a victory.
Love you too, bro.
Say bye.
Bye.
We out of here, people. Let's go, Chiefs. F the FADERs, Broncos. Y'all trash.